Alright, hello everyone. This video is made to help those of you retaking Chapter 11 test. I wanted to hit some of the harder questions on the test in the hopes of having you as ready as possible. Throughout this video, I encourage you to pause, read the question, and try it. So like this one here, give it a shot before I walk through the answer, and then hit on pause to see if your answer matches what I got. Before you get started here on this one, just a reminder for area of a circle, it's pi times the radius squared. You can be using that in this question for sure. All right, so hopefully I had a chance to try it first. So the probability that we're throwing random, right? We're not throwing with skill, we're throwing randomly. It's going to land in the red circle is the area of the red part, which is just 3 squared times pi. So that's 9 pi. That's our favorable. And then our total area, I guess depending on how you interpreted it, this 5 is supposed to be the whole thing. So if you had the radius here of 8, I guess 5 plus 3, that makes sense. But what I was going for is this whole thing is 5. So the area of the whole big circle would be 25 pi. So the chances it lands in the red is 9 pi out of 25 pi. If you clean this up, those cancel. Then you have 9 out of 25, which I believe comes out to be about 36 or exactly 36% chance it lands in the red. Sorry, that's a 36. Okay, next one, same thing, pause it. See if you remember what it means to be percentile. All right, and then I'll pause and see the answer. All right, so here you go. You got 12 spots, right? Remember, you count up from the bottom when you're doing this. So percentile is the number that you're ahead of or equal to. And so we have Blake here in his basketball. He averages 4.2, so he's right there. So his percentile, he's ahead of or equal to 4 out of 12 spaces, which puts him in the 33rd percentile. Right, and then kind of the reverse, what value represents the 16.7 percentile? And so the most mathy way to do it is to take that percent times the 12 positions, and you get that the second spot represents the 16.7 percentile. An alternate route is you could just kind of guess and check. You could divide 1 by 12 and see if that's 16.7%. It's not. If you divide 2 by 12, then you'd find out that that is the one we're looking for, right? At any rate, we're looking for the second spot, and that 2.5, that represents the 16.7 percentile. Okay, next question. This is, I think, one of the harder types tree diagram, right? So I kind of made the tree already just to save you a little bit of work. And then see if you can remember, how do I get these numbers at the end, right? So if you want to read through this question, then think through, how do you get these numbers at the end, and what do they really represent? Right, so hopefully you remember that these are the and probabilities here at the end. So the top number represents a total percentage that is a junior and employed. The next one is a junior and unemployed, so on and so forth, right? And all of those together add up to be 100%, right? Everyone falls either as junior, senior, and then within those, the subcategories of employed or unemployed. Okay, so how you do these is kind of different, all right? And again, I would try some of these and then on pause to see the answer. Once you get the hang of it, you don't have to do all 4 of the conditional ones, the given that ones, but at least do a couple, make sure you got it. Okay, so the chances of being employed, right? So I want to take the 2 spots that are the employed dots, which are just these 2, and just add those 2 together. Okay, so our chances of being employed are 0.1, like 18.2% plus 26.4. And if you add those up, I think that would be about 44.6% chance of being employed for letter A. Okay, letter B. This is probably the easiest one as long as you know how to interpret it. So we just have to figure out the number that is junior and unemployed. So you just follow in a path. So here's junior, unemployed, and so that total out of the 100% is 33.8%. Okay, so now getting to the real tricky ones, the given that. And so again, if you can read it, right, see if you can read letter C here, because I think that'll help you. All right? And so what it's saying is the probability you're senior given that you're employed. So when it says given that you're employed, that means you're only looking at the employed numbers, right? So our bottom number is those two things added together, right? Which I actually did in letter A here. So our bottom number is 0.446, the unemployed. And then out of these two employed, which ones are also seniors? So senior given that you're employed. So out of these two employed, the ones that are seniors would be the 0.264. And you can actually divide those out if you want, but generally I just kind of leave them that way, mostly because I'm lazy, being honest. Okay, so here we have to think what goes on the bottom, the juniors or the unemployed. Okay, and hopefully you figured out that the bottom is all the unemployed people because it's given that they're unemployed. So it's 0.216 plus 0.338. And then out of those two unemployed numbers, the one that is juniors is the top one, the 0.338, right? And so again, you could clean that up to get your answer, but that's basically it. You know, sometimes I divide it out to the actual percent, but laziness, just leave it that way. Hopefully you got the idea. Okay, so letter E here, unemployed goes on the bottom, so it's actually the same as letter D here because we have our two unemployed numbers on the bottom. So 0.216 plus 0.338 because it's given that they're unemployed. And then out of the unemployed, which ones are seniors this time? So the senior unemployed is this one right here. So it's kind of like the last one, except your top now is your unemployed seniors. Okay, last question for us here is junior given that you're employed. So the bottom of this is going to be our employed dots. So I'm going to circle those. Those are the two E's. So find those two E's, and then out of those two E's, which ones are also juniors? And that would be the top dot. Okay, and again, you could clean this up if you want, but just to make it simple, I'm going to leave it in that form. All right, so that's conditional probability with a tree. And then the other thing that I think is pretty hard is to be able to use these two-way tables and do a conditional probability with that. So again, I would pause it and see if you can make sense of these three before watching the rest of it. Okay, so hopefully you can read this. This is probability of the male given that they play basketball. So the bottom of this is going to be just our basketball people. So I'm going to highlight them right there. All right, so that if you add those two together, that's 94 people. And out of those basketball ones, out of these 94 basketball, how many are male? That. So it's 54 out of 94. Okay, second one, a little bit different, but it says probability they play soccer given that they're female. So given that they're female, right, means now we're looking at this column, all the females. If we add all those up, I believe that is, let's see, 101 plus 12, so 113. And out of those 113, how many play soccer? Okay, and it looks like it is 61 play soccer out of the 113 females. Okay, last type is an and, which I know generally on an and you multiply them together, right? So you multiply like the females times the volleyball percent, but this is a single event, right? So the multiplying together is more like if you have multiple events, like rolling a dice and flipping a coin. Here we have just one event. We're drawing a person, a random person. We don't know the chances that that person is female and plays volleyball. Okay, so the top number hopefully is easy to see. There's only 12 female volleyball players, but the bottom is you're drawing out of everybody, right? It's not a given that, so you're not doing like just the females or just the basketball people. You're doing everybody. So this one is 12 out of 223, so not too likely. Okay, again, pause the video, give this a shot before watching that answer. Okay, so this is an OR probability. So generally you add them together and minus any overlap. So here I'm going to do the probability that it's green plus the probability that it's a dress shirt. But any ones that are green and dress shirt got counted twice. So I'm going to minus off the ones that are both green and dress shirts. All total, I believe there is 14 shirts. Okay, and out of those 14, The number that are green are these 5 and those 4, so that would be 9 out of 14. And then the ones that are dress shirts would be, let's see, 2 dress shirts here and 4 more there, so that'd be 6 out of the 14. Okay, and then we just got to minus whatever got counted twice. So the green dress shirts, let's see, 4 green dress shirts, those got counted twice. So it would be 4 out of 14. So overall, we would have 9 plus 6, 15, minus 4 would be 11 out of 14. Okay, last one for you to try. This is not all that far-fetched. My mother-in-law has brought me some outfits. So, yeah, go ahead and see if you can figure this out. Okay, so this is a straight and it is 2 separate events where you're picking a shirt and a pair of pants. So you have to multiply the probability that my shirt is stylish times the probability that my pants, oops, I get a little out of control there, probability that my pants are also stylish. Oh geez. Okay, so probability of shirt times probability of pants being stylish. Okay, so the shirt, let's see. The shirt, there are 9 that are stylish out of 16. That seems about right. Pants, not all that stylish. I have a hard time finding pants that fit me. So there's only 1 out of 4 pairs of pants that are stylish. Okay, so if you multiply those together, the chances of me getting an overall stylish outfit is not so great. Right, I have to get both of them stylish, then my overall chance is not great. So multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and there's only a 9 out of 64 chance that everything comes out great, which is probably about the right percentage. All right, hopefully that helps. Reach out, contact me if you need help figuring out how to do the retest, but hopefully this gives you a good review, helps you feel better going into the test. All right, have a good day.